Hey Raiders family, it's Bourkeys here and welcome to my post-match review from the Melbourne Storm clash last Friday at Canberra Stadium. Look guys, this week's top 10 was really a hard one to put together. I want to cut the guys some slack but at the same time not be too soft. I know it's only the second game in, but against the close to premiership favourites, I was just in a real quandary as to how hard or soft I go. So I basically cut it down the middle with a number of things in relation to what I saw and what I felt we were able to achieve out of the game. But look, let's get into the top 10. The first one off the rank, I've got what's called unpredictable. Now, I said in my pre-match review about unpredictability, and with our try for Jared that John Bateman set up. Now, let's be honest. That try was set up nothing more than a wraparound move between Bateman passing to Corey Horsburgh, who then passed it back to John Bateman, who ran across field. It was very vanilla and very simple. I mean, wraparounds we learned in under sevens or under eights, so it's a very simplistic play that really doesn't get used a lot these days in senior rugby league. For what reason, I don't know, but it always creates the extra man. Now, if you go back and look at the setup to the try, the moment that Horsburgh got it back to Bateman, Melbourne were just in panic mode. They were scattering all over the place. And the reason is they don't usually see sides play this type of play against them where they're popping balls out the back. Melbourne, the Roosters, South, they like to suck you into the way they like to play, which is hit the forwards up, maybe hit the edges, kick to the corner, good kick, chase, sweat on errors. When sides are unpredictable like we were in that particular try, it's very unconventional for them. Most times they don't train for that type of thing. As I said, simplistic or simple is often the best way to get through a defence or around a defence. You don't need to be ecstatically brilliant or Harlem Globetrotter-like, but simple plays like that can cause issues and cause sides to stress out and become in panic mode. And once again, if you really look at the vision after Bateman got the ball back from Horsburgh, Melbourne was scattering, thinking, okay, now what? Vunivalu came in off his wing. Scott was going sideways. At the end, when Jared stepped in, 3 players missed him. So we should just keep that in the back of our mind when we play these heavyweights. Those little things really help. Number 2, I've got Aiden Caesar. Now, once again, Aiden is a confidence player. And I think Melbourne really honed in on him quite deliberately on Friday to try and rattle his cage, knowing that he was always going to be the main link between him and Jack. Aiden was going to swing left, swing right when he saw fit. And Melbourne really got under his guard and got under his nose with a lot of pressure. Like, I think Aiden made 3 mistakes in the first half. Obviously unacceptable at that standard, but he seemed to be playing on hot coals a hell of a lot. I don't know what happens from here with Aiden. Obviously, Ricky's not going to do anything to sort of be in panic mode. He's got Hingano and Sam Williams sitting back in reserve grade. Once again, where Ricky may go with a replacement for Aiden if things sort of don't improve, I'm not sure. But Aiden just seemed Friday that he was playing on hot coals once he made 1 or 2 errors early. He never really seemed to get his confidence back from those early issues. And he's really got to work on that part of his game. We need him firing and need him marshalling our side around the ground. So, look, I mean, Melbourne really had a game plan to get up his nose and unsettle him, and it worked quite well. I don't think Aiden had one of his better games, but he just has to work on it. There's no other way but hard work. That's again what I said earlier. It's very simple what he needs to do, but it's just one of those things where he's just got to put himself into those lifelike situations at training where he's getting under pressure and how he best handles it and comes out the other side. Number 3, I've gone for Nick Kotrick. Once again, a lot of people held Nick down for not one of his better games, and maybe it wasn't. 3 tries against your opposite winger is not usually what you'd call a good game, but be honest with you, I think a lot of the issues for Nick came from the inside with Jared, with Jack, and the edge defender, whoever it was at the time, maybe John Bateman, I'm not sure. But there was a couple of times, especially one time where Jack went out of the line and rushed up and left Jared and Nick back, waiting to see what was happening. With wing play like that close to the line, you've got to make a decision whether you go in and take the ball or whether you hang back. 9 times out of 10, Nick tried to go in to shut it down and just got caught out. Some games he'll actually block that play out and it'll be stopped in its tracks. But there are just some days where it just doesn't work out, and the try will always be scored down the flank. Mind you, a good winger will try and force that pass and make them play that long ball and not the shorter ball inside. You want to force that ball to the sideline to make them earn the try, without it being a soft one, maybe 1 or 2 inside of the wing where they just stroll through untouched. So in that case, Nick, hats off to you. You did make them force that play wide, which is always the best option. There could be a fumble or whatever the case might be. It might drift forward. So the best play 9 times out of 10 is to make them force that pass to the outside man to score the try. Number 4, I've gone for Corey Horsburgh. Now, I know I'm talking about this guy a lot, but I really am getting very impressed with what he's bringing to our side. He was not intimidated by that nearly all-international Melbourne pack on Friday one bit. In actual fact, he got under their nose. When Curtis Scott dropped the ball, he went and patted him on the head. And those things I like. I'm sick to death of sides kissing each other on the arse when one of their opposite sides make a mistake and everyone's helping him up and patting him on the back. I hate that. So in Corey's case, I'm glad that he's rattling a few cages, because what it's doing, especially someone like Curtis Scott, who's a bit of a hothead, and other players, if you can rattle them, they're looking for a get square sometime down the track to give you a verbal or whatever, or something else. But if they're thinking about that, they're not thinking about their own game. And that's a good sign. So if he's rattling guys with his, smart-ass comments or pat on the head or pat on the back, I think that's a good thing for our side. He's not giving away a penalty. It's not stupid. It's a bit of gamesmanship, which may help us through games if certain players react and give away penalties or get away from their own game plan or their own sort of style of how they play the game. So I think he's going really well. I think, he did some really good rucks. Don't think he made any mistakes. There's no reason why he can't be in this 17 with that type of form. Number 5, I've gone for Josh Papali, who I thought was enormous. We saw his meterage runs. The only thing for Papa I'd really love to see from here on, and look at Jesse Bromwich and Asafa Solomona for the Storm, they seem to hit and spin and get that second phase play a lot more. That really helped Melbourne around the ruck and made us to do second and third and fourth efforts a lot of time. That sucks juice. And Melbourne did that really well on the weekend, on Friday, with their forwards spinning and getting a pop ball away. We never had anywhere near as many second phase plays as Melbourne had on Friday. And I think it's something we've really got to look at in our forwards a little bit more. And I think Papa's the ideal person to get that roll on in the first hit up. He gets through the line beautifully. There's no doubt about that. And whether Ricky's told him that's all he wants him to do, I'm not sure. But if Papa can spin in a tackle and get a pop ball away, I think it's just going to add to the dangers of Hodjo in that second and third area, or that second and third play the ball. It brings CNK into the game, Jack into the game, but just gets us on the front foot. And sides do not like making second or third efforts on a tackle. It just sucks so much energy. So I think if the likes of Papa can get a hit and spin, get a pop ball to us away for supports, it just adds a lot of volume to our attacking play. But certainly there's no doubting the effort that Josh put in Friday. He was, close to one of the best forwards on the field, if not the best forward between both sides. Number 6, I've gone for CNK, like a fantastic game. This guy's really shaping up very, very well. As I said last week in my preview, at the moment you're not seeing a lot of sweeping plays a la Jack White and coming outside of Jared or coming outside of BJ. That's just not happening. But his positional play, other than the grubber kick when Vunivalu scored his first or second try, I think, he was definitely caught out of position there. But overall, a fantastic game. Great under the high ball, really good core strength. He can get through that line and drag 2 or 3 defenders in when he's kick returning. That's so important to us, particularly with Jordan back now. CNK looking like a guy that can bring defenders in, as well as Nick. We've got some real bounce out of that and some real punch out of those back 3, which is vitally important to get us on the front foot. So kudos to the guy. Second game in, he's producing that type of play. I'm excited about what the rest of the year is going to bring for him injury-free, and he's only going to get more confidence as he gets to know, as he he gets to know the players around him. Number 7, I've gone for patience. Now, we just seen a little bit edgy on the weekend with things we were building to, some push passes, which I'll come to later on. But as Melbourne showed us, while we've got to be unpredictable in some instances, we've also got to learn to be patient. That's what these sides build their pressure on, is patience. We're getting very close to it. As I said, with new players, new combinations and so on, we've just got to be, dare I say, a little bit patient with them as well. But we just need to really methodically grind sides out and grind wins out. Hodjo, number 8. A couple of times on the weekend he went right or went left and there was no one there. That's probably a throwback to maybe Blake Austin being in those positions previous years where he'd be on the ball running a really quick hit up to hit a short blind side. At the moment, we don't have that combination with Hodjo and Jack. Just to know those times when Hodjo feigns right and comes back to the left, he needs a quick straight runner. I don't know who that's going to be. At the moment, Jack's still finding his craft there, whether it's Elliott Whitehead, whether it's BJ on that right edge who hits that quick play the ball up when Hodjo feigns either way. I'm not sure. I mean, Hodjo's game once again was fantastic. A couple of times it got a little bit clunky on some fifth tackle options, and as well as out of dummy half looking for a runner that wasn't there. But we're getting close. And once again, as I said last week, our attackers need to be right on Hodjo's line when he's running, because it just gives him so many more options to draw in the other defenders to look for where the gaps are going to be on that second or third play the ball. Number 9, I've gone to Jack actually. I felt on the weekend, once again, his game's improving remarkably. A bad read in defence, which led to that try, but other than that, he was solid. Couple of things with Jack I'd really love to see him do. He's a big body guy, big limbs. I'd sometimes like to see him try and go over the defence when he's in attack to look for a pop ball. He's trying to throw the ball very flat at the line or before the line to Elliott. But if he can get his hands over and pop, I think that gives him a lot more variety. If he can start doing that a couple of times, sides will get a bit edgy when he goes over the top, because they'll need not only 2 defenders taking him, but also a cover defender coming along to try and lock the ball up. And that's when he can hit someone like Elliott or Jared or someone else trailing him to get the ball away. And I think if he can add that little bit to his game, it just gives us another bit of impetus and another weapon that he can use in his attacking scenario. I like some of the balls he did on the weekend to Elliott Whitehead coming back on that angle. I think that's a really nice move. Elliott does run a beautiful angled line. What I mean by an angled line is you either run straight through the gap, if there's one there, or you come back in on the angle. So what that does is it brings the defender that's going to take Jack to take that runner, as well as the person who's on Elliott, for example, to come in as well. Now, if that defender's coming in to take Elliott, what it then allows Jack to consider is a second man behind Elliott to hit that gap where Elliott Whitehead's defenders come in to try and take him. So it's a tight ball, but that play can really, really be effective and give us some overlaps. If Jack hits C and K out the back, that brings in Jared Sender to take C and K, and there's an overlap of 2-on-1. So I like that angle run that Elliott did a couple of times on the weekend. A little bit more variety here and there, and it can really be quite potent for our try scoring potential. And number 10, I've gone for errors and pressure. I know it's very simple. I know it's very vanilla. But we just have to cut our errors out, particularly against the Storm, which is, as you saw on the weekend, those errors really hurt us a number of times. So we've just got to try and get them out of our play. We're going to make some. We're a football side. We're human. It's just the areas of the field we're making them, which is a bit of a cause for concern. If we're making them on their 10-metre line or 10 metres out from their own line, it's not a massive issue. I think the Storm now, with no Slater and no Cronk, they aren't the potent side of scoring 90-metre tries. They really graft and grind upfield with 3 or 4 big forwards either side of the ruck to get them over the 50, 60-metre line. Then they put their plays on. But we just got to be really careful. As I said, against your Melbournes and your Souths and your Roosters, any errors we do make, we have to be making them when we're attacking, not inside our halfway line, close to our line. It just puts too much pressure on our defence. to try and get back into the contest. So, guys, that's it for this week. Hope some of that makes sense in relation to the way I felt the game panned out. The Knights this week, looking forward to that clash Friday night. I'll be back Thursday with my podcast and my pre-match review as well. So, guys, as always, thank you so much for the love. Hit me up on my Facebook page at Bourkeys Top 10. I'm on Twitter. Love to hear your feedback. And as always, guys, bleed green. Have a great week and see you Thursday. Bye for now.